Hi everyone, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, I'll tell you, I hope here in North America that we never get to this point that happened over in Singapore. So Genting Cruise Line has been doing numerous cruises out of Singapore. There's hardly any cases of the virus in Singapore, but they have some of the strictest, measures and health measures around. And there's a lot of health measures on the World Dream cruise ship that's sailing cruises to nowhere. No ports, just 4-day cruises out of Singapore out in the ocean. And they have a lot of passengers on. However, apparently, there's a case on board the ship. Now there's about 1,800 passengers and about 1,200 crew members, so there's 3,000 people on that cruise ship. Now, did the person test positive during the voyage and everything on the ship? No. The way they found out about it was that somebody on land tested positive and through contact tracing found out that one person on board was with that person from a karaoke bar. of all things, apparently. And so they tested the person on board and found that they tested positive and immediately isolated that person, tested the people that were with that person. There were 3 other people with them and they all tested negative, but they all were isolated, and they did contact tracing for everybody else on board. And they couldn't find any other virus, but this person was there. They removed that person from the ship. They went back to port. That's right. They canceled the rest of the cruise for this one passenger out of 3,000 passengers, people on the ship, 1,800 passengers. They canceled the rest of the cruise, went back to Singapore, removed that person, brought them to hospital, tested them one more time, and apparently they did retest positive in the hospital, so it was a confirmed case. The people now on board that ship, well, let's talk about that in a second. I just want to say, if you haven't subscribed already, please hit that subscribe button, hit the little notification bell so you're up to date with all these cruise news stories and all the blogs and travel documents and tips and tricks and everything else coming forward. Doesn't cost anything, really helps the channel, and I'll be eternally grateful. Now, all these passengers on the World Dream cruise ship got isolated for quite a few hours, like most of the afternoon on the day as they returned back to Singapore. So now not only are they take that one person and isolated them, and the contact tracing of all the people that they might have been in contact, but they just quarantined everybody into their room as well. The people who are in direct contact of this person, who even if they tested, were all retested, they tested negative, but they're going to have to monitor themselves for 14 days when they get off the ship. And then at the end of the 14 days, they have to go to a government facility and take another test to clarify that they don't have it for sure. And everybody else on board has to be retested again before they're allowed off the ship. We don't have that here so far in North America. We've had cases on board. They remove them, they isolate them, they test people, and that's it. The cruise continues, the cruise goes on. But there they are taking no chances whatsoever. And they basically shut down the cruise. And I am told now that they did, passengers were able to get off the cruise now after being stuck in the ship for numerous hours. So at least they're allowed to get off the ship. But again, their cruise was ruined basically because of one case. One case. I guess if you're in a city, in an area that has had no cases, hardly any, this, one case is terrifying that all of a sudden there's one. How did one case come up? Our population has no cases. How did this case show up there? And so they're taking no precautions. But I really hope we do not get back into that situation here in North America where they're canceling cruises because of one case. And in fact, they turned that ship around and headed back to shore on the suspected case, from a positive transmission from land to a possible link to a person who was on a ship. They actually turned them around before they had the results of that cruise. Now, if you're on a cruise to nowhere, turning around the boat is no big deal. But as soon as they found that as a positive test result, that's when they started putting everybody into isolation. And that is something I really don't want to see here on any of my cruises going forward. I can tell you that. So what do you guys think? Is this overkill? Do you think they're doing it the right way? I honestly don't know the situation of the vaccines in Singapore, but apparently this passenger was totally vaccinated as well. So it just goes to show every place is different in the world. Well, I hope you appreciate this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. I want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel blogs from around the world. Hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.